Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Game Nights. On this one, we are returning one of your favorite guests.
Hey, I'm Cassius Marsh, defensive end for the San Francisco 49ers.
Cassius Marsh.
Happy to be back on Game Nights, excited to get another game.
And we've got one of the best dressed men in all of Magic.
Hello, I'm Ben Bateman. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Masters of Modern podcast, the Collector.company. You guys might have seen me on red carpets, interviewing celebrities, press junkets, podcasting, all over the place. I'm pretty much just in Los Angeles doing entertainment things. I'm playing a lot of Magic.
Do you think wearing the suit intimidates your opponents?
Sometimes it intimidates my opponents. Cassius was definitely intimidated today.
I think the last time we played Magic with Ben, I think he might have been wearing the same exact suit.
On this episode, we're playing a brand new format called Brawl.
Brawl is almost identical to Commander, except for a few exceptions.
It's standard legal cards only.
Your commander can be a legendary creature or a planeswalker.
It's 60 card decks,
You start with 30 life,
and there's no commander damage.
Complete.
but at its core, Brawl is still multiplayer Magic with all of the interactions and politics that you come to expect.
So my commander is Huatli, Radiant Champion. Yeah, so my deck's all about basically getting creatures into play, using that draw engine to continue to draw creatures and play creatures and smash face, get life totals down, win games, you know, do what I do.
The deck I'm going to be playing today is Muldrotha, the Gravetide. When I first saw this card, I knew it was extremely powerful because it basically turns your graveyard into your hand. So the goal of the deck is to kind of play the same cards over and over and just outvalue my opponents and bury them in attrition. You know, really grind them out.
Today, I'm gonna be playing Jhoira, Weatherlight Captain. The goal of my deck is to get Jhoira in play, cast as many cheap artifacts as I can for as little mana as I can, and chain together sweet triggered abilities that I get off of casting artifacts. Whether it's drawing cards, dealing damage, making creatures, so on and so forth.
The deck I'm going to be playing today is Jodah, Archmage Eternal. This is the only 5-color commander available in Brawl right now. The goal of the deck is to cast Jodah as fast as possible and then play some spells that are extremely powerful and destructive way earlier than my opponents expect. If everything goes right, I could cast a card like Zakama, which costs 9 mana as early as turn 4.
I can't wait to see how this turns out.
All right, dope, let's play.
Okay, as usual, we have the new playmats from Dominaria.
Cool. Ben, it's your first time on the show. You know what that means.
What does that mean?
Cash, do the honors, please.
I dubbed thee Sir Ben Bateman.
Welcome to Game Nights.
Only one may stand.
All right, everybody ready?
Yeah.
All right, I will draw for turn, and I will drop a Woodland Stream. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Wow. I will draw for turn. Play Evolving Wilds. Pass turn.
I will play an island, and I'm gonna play Renegade Map.
Very nice.
They did the really cool thing of calling artifacts historic, which is like kind of intuitive if you're a new player. And it also means that if I play a crappy 1-mana artifact, but I have Jhoira in play, I'm gonna draw a card. And this one's gonna fix my mana, so it's like, you know, like a half a land, so that's good too. Pass the turn.
Draw, I'm just gonna play planes.
Pass the turn, untap, draw. And I will play a Memorial to Unity, and then I will tap 1, and I will play a Pyramid of the Pantheon. This card looks kind of innocuous, but I actually think that because it's a multiplayer game and it's likely to go a little bit longer, that this is going to turn into tapping for 3 mana pretty fast, and at that point, it's really good. All right, that's it. Go ahead.
Untap, draw. I'll play a Forest. I'll tap 2 and play the Channeler Initiate.
Aha.
There's the battlefield with 3 -1/-1 counters. The most important thing about my deck is being able to pay white, blue, black, red, and green as soon as possible. And a turn 2 Channeler Initiate is exactly getting me there. And I will pass turn.
All right, I'm going to sacrifice my Renegade Map. Put this mountain into my hand. Tap 2, I'm gonna cast Treasure Map.
Oh man, lots of maps for you, Ben.
Treasure Map's gonna even out my draws, and it's gonna help me find the cards I need. I will obviously wanna hit my commander on turn 4, so I'm happy to pay 1 mana to scry. Stoked about it. Pass to you, Cash.
Draw, play a forest, and then I will play Throne of the God Pharaoh.
Oh.
Oh, that card's aggressive.
This card is great because I knew that I would just be playing creatures and turning them sideways. So later on in the game, this card is gonna be really good. I'm gonna get a lot of value in this. I will pass turn.
Okay. I'm gonna play a Forest, tap 3, and play a Weaver of Currents. Once Muldrotha's in play, the deck really gets going, so this card's gonna let me cast it 2 turns early and really get the game plan underway as fast as possible. So I'm really happy about how this game has started out. And I will pass turn.
All right, I'll untap, draw for turn. I'm going to play an irrigated farmland. My deck really wants to play its general on turn 4, but I also have a lot of lands that come into play tapped. It sucks, but I have to play a tap land here and just wait one more turn to cast my general. And pass the turn.
All right, draw. I'm gonna cast Azer's Gateway.
Whoa.
At this point, I don't have any lands in my hand, but it's basically a looter and a scryer for 1 mana each. How am I not gonna hit a 4th land to play Jhoira? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. My hand's all gas. I am very excited. I just need to hit that 4th land. I'm gonna play Jhoira, gonna untap and go absolutely nuts. These guys aren't gonna know what hit them.
If this card ever flips over, we're all gonna die. That's it. The game could just end that turn.
Pass to cash.
Okay, I'll tap for 3, play Jade Light Ranger. I'm looking to get some card draw out of it, get a couple lands. I just wanted to hit at least the first Explorer, add an extra land to my hand, make sure that I'm hitting my land drop each turn. When it enters the battlefield, it will explore. So I'll explore once, goes to my hand, and I will explore again. And it goes to my hand.
Yeah, it's a 2-1, whatever. Card's bad.
He drew 2 cards off the card.
Drew 2 cards!
It was Muldrotha for 3.
Gamesmanship. I look at him and I'm like, that card's bad. I was gonna get in his head. Now he acted like it didn't work, but I think it worked. That card's good though. I was just messing with him.
Pass turn.
Okay, I'll untap, I'll draw. I thought about playing my commander here, but I actually have something I can do that I think's even better and gonna set me up for when Muldrotha does come out. All right, I'm going to tap 5 and play Gilded Lotus.
Oh, shoot.
And then I'm gonna tap 3 and play Oraska Relic. I'll play my land for turn. I'll tap 2, and I'll play Perpetual Timepiece.
Jeez Louise.
That's fair.
So more ramp, but more importantly, the Perpetual Timepiece. This card is maybe the best card in the deck. It's gonna allow me to mill myself for 2, which is basically with Muldrotha, like drawing 2 cards. And it also protects me a little bit if there's any graveyard hate out there, because I can at least shuffle those cards back into my deck and avoid them getting exiled so I can maybe use them again. And then that's all I can do, so go ahead.
I'm just gonna go ahead and concede. All right, I'll untap, I'll draw for turn. I'm going to play a Glacial Fortress.
Oh, nice.
Comes into play untapped because I have a plains and an island.
Nice.
And
It
then,
should come into play on tap twice.
and then I will tap for white, blue, green, and red, and play Jodah, Archmage Eternal. All right, here is Jodah, Archmage Eternal. I also have access to 5 colors, so as long as no one gets rid of my commander, I'm gonna have a pretty sweet next turn.
Jimmy's commander is extremely potent and will allow him to cheat the mana cost of spells, which is one of the most powerful things you can do in all of Magic.
I'm not worried about Jodah. He's gonna have to pay 5 mana for everything he casts. 5 mana? Are you kidding me? What can you do for 5 mana?
And then I will pass the turn.
Okay, I'm looking at my hand and I'm thinking, sure, this is all gas, but if I don't natural this land right now, I'm gonna have to dig for a land, not gonna be able to play Jhoira, then have to wait a whole nother turn to play Jhoira.
On end of your turn, I'm gonna activate Treasure Map. I'm gonna scry 1. I'm gonna put that on the bottom.
Okay.
Untap, draw.
And I don't draw a land.
I'm going to activate Treasure Map again.
Okay.
And then I scry 1 and I don't see a land.
I'm gonna put it on bottom. And then I'm gonna cast Sentinel Totem.
Steal anti my deck card.
Yeah, that is not.
That's not nice.
Sentinel Totem, very bad for me. My deck is built around its graveyard, and Ben, at any time, can just get rid of it, exile it, and take away all my access to all the cool cards I put in there, so I gotta figure something out about that.
Then I'm gonna tap 1, activate Azur's Gateway.
You've seen a lot of your deck already. That's crazy.
And then I draw 1 off my looter and I don't get a land. It's bad. Okay, how many turns before I'm in this game?
I'm gonna exile Sage of Latnam and not play a land and pass the turn.
Draw. Play Field of Ruins and play my commander, Huatli. She comes into play with 3 loyalty counters. I will +1 her for the 1 creature I control. So I get Huatli out on time, turn 4. It's not great. I've only got 1 creature, so it's only +2. Normally you're gonna wanna at least get a +3 going and get it towards ulting. This wasn't the greatest start for my deck, but if I can get Huatli to go off, I'll have the engine.
Huatli's interesting, and I don't have a lot of interaction in my deck. I'm not gonna have a great way to deal with this, but whatever, you don't really have much, it's not gonna matter. He has Jade Light Ranger. You know what I think about Jade Light Ranger.
All right, on your end step cash, I'm gonna activate Perpetual Timepiece. and mill myself for 2.
I just want to get cards into my graveyard because those cards are going to be available to me with my commander later. So I'm just trying to fill it up, but I don't want to go overboard because of that Sentinel Totem. So that thing is already going to sort of cramp me down and sort of make me make decisions I didn't want to, like how big do I want my graveyard to get?
And then I'm going to untap, draw, tap 6 mana for Muldrotha, the Gravetide.
I got my 6 mana general out on turn 5, and I still have extra mana to do stuff. This is just going great. It really turns on my deck and everything it wants to do. So here we go.
So that's gonna give me 10 permanents, so I now have the City's Blessing, which matters for the Erasca Relic.
Yeah, you can sack it to draw a card, gain some life.
Gain 3 life and draw a card.
That's good.
Then I'm gonna play the Fetid Pools out of my graveyard as my land for turn.
Thanks to Muldrotha.
I'm gonna activate Perpetual Timepiece, mill myself for 2. I got a Nissa and a Woodland Cemetery.
Jeez. Planeswalkers. I can't think of any cards off the top of my head in Brawl that actually exile a Planeswalker, so that means it's pretty much staying in the graveyard. So as long as Muldrotha is alive, Josh can recast a Planeswalker every single turn. That's crazy.
Okay, I'm gonna tap a green, make a blue with Pyramid of the Pantheon and 1, and I'm gonna play Nissa for 1.
Even though casting Nissa for 1 doesn't seem like great value, it's just basically free. It's not a card that's in my hand, so I'm happy to get it, and I'm hoping that I can activate Nissa here and get a land.
So Nissa has 1 loyalty counter. I think I'm gonna 0 Nissa. Come on, land. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Take it wasn't a land.
All right.
Okay, we whiffed, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. Again, it was just kind of a free roll. And if they decide to attack and kill her, I can just cast her on my graveyard again, so no big deal.
All right, untap. Now we'll draw for turn. Okay, this turn is gonna be a teensy bit crazy because I kept my opening hand for a reason. And that reason was a dinosaur. I will play a mountain.
Not Nicol Bolas, not Nicol Bolas, not Nicol Bolas. Actually, Zakama's probably worse. Not Zakama, not Zakama, not Zakama.
I'm gonna tap red, blue, white, black, and green, and I will play Zakama.
This is the worst thing I could think of happening.
That seems really unfair, because it costs 9, but you just played it for 5. And then he untaps everything.
All right, now that Zakama is here, I'm going to untap all of my lands I control.
Seems good.
Okay, and then I will pay Uberg once again to cast Rishkar's Expertise. So I'm going to draw 9 cards, and then I'm going to cast a card with convert mana cost CMC 5 or less from my hands.
I feel so in trouble.
He draws 9 cards. 9 cards. You start a game of Magic with 7.
I mean, 9 cards is just ridiculous.
Plus, he's gonna get to cast a 5 CMC spell for free.
So with Rishkar's Expertise, I'm going to cast Vizier of Many Faces, copying Zakama Primal Calamity.
Gets the untap thing again.
I'm going to untap all my lands, and the legend rule is going to force me to sack one of them, so I'm going to sacrifice the Vizier of Many Faces. So far in this turn, I've played 20 mana worth of cards, drawn 9 cards, and still have all my lands untapped. So things are going good. I'm going to go to combat. Josh, I'm going to swing at Nissa for 4.
I cannot block. Nissa dies.
This is bad, but we can remove a couple things. Maybe we can get out of this. You know, cast whatever your next big thing is, Jimmy, and let's move on to the next turn. Let's get out of this horrible turn.
The only real problem here is that I want to attack with Zakama, but he doesn't have haste, so well, let's see if we can get around that too. So I'm going to tap Wooburg to play Karn's Temporal Sundering, targeting myself to take an extra turn, and then I'm going to bounce Muldrotha to your hand. Sometimes when you don't have enough mana, an extra turn card just reads draw a card. But in this case, Karn's Temporal Sundering actually bounces a permanent too, which is insane. So I can set Josh back a little bit because he's had such an explosive start.
Come on. Now he gets an extra turn. He bounces my commander. This is like one of the most explosive turns that I have ever seen. This is crazy.
Okay, time to pass the turn finally to myself. All right, I'm gonna untap and I'll draw for turn. I'll go to combat. Cassius, I'm gonna swing 4 flying at Huatli, and Josh, I'm gonna swing 9 at you on the ground.
So Huatli's still alive at 1 loyalty.
And I take 9, I have no blockers.
So now he can activate Zakama's ability. He has Jodah still, so he can just cast whatever the biggest thing in his hand is, and he still has, of course, 7 cards because he drew 50 million last turn. Like, how did this happen?
You know, 13 damage across the board, it's whatever. I still got one more trick up my sleeve. And then I'm going to tap 5, and I will play Nicol Bolas, God Pharaoh. What? This may be the most far ahead I've ever been in an episode of Game Nights. This is an insane position I'm in right here. I have a huge creature, one of the most powerful planeswalkers in the history of the game, and everyone else is still trying to cast their commanders. And I will +1 him so everyone exiles 2 cards from their hand.
I don't know what happened.
We're all just like, okay, either let's lock Jimmy in the bathroom or yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the answer, actually.
I think it's clear on my face that I'm just not happy about it. I'm very salty. I'm thinking there's no way we come back from this, but Josh is just
Still think we can all come back?
It's gonna be hard, but it's possible.
gung-ho that we can do it. You know, we'll just band together and it'll be like Nicol Bolas, arch enemy.
Here's the thing. It's really hard as one player to face off against 3 players. We're drawing 3 cards a turn. We're dropping 3 lands a turn. It is possible for us to come back from this. I've got some stuff in my hand. I can get rid of some of his stuff. I just need Ben and Cash to just chip in, do anything they can to him.
I'll pass turn to you, Ben.
Okay, I'm gonna cast Traveler's Amulet.
So, Traveler's Amulet's a card that's in my deck, and it's not a 9-mana legendary creature, it's a 1-mana artifact.
Then I'm going to sacrifice the Traveler's Amulet.
Josh looks at me and he's like, really? That's all you can do? That's all you can do? Yes, Traveler's Amulet, that's what I'm able to do.
Play the mountain. I will activate Treasure Map to scry 1. That's gonna transform my Treasure Map into Treasure Cove. And I get 3 treasures. 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna sacrifice my 3 treasures, tap my last blue, and cast Jhoira, Weatherlight Captain.
I guess I'm supposed to just run Jhoira out and just be like, okay, if you want to spend your mana to kill my general, you can. That was my only move.
So the thing I noticed about Ben's turn is he did nothing to Jimmy's board. Nothing. That doesn't help us. We need to be picking off his stuff. Hopefully Cash will do something to Jimmy's board. Just, I can do some stuff. We team up, we have a chance.
Untap, draw. I'm gonna tap for 5 and I'll play the Mending of Dominaria.
Whoa, Saga.
Ideally, this would be a late game play. Go get some creatures you know that are there. Get some lands that you may have discarded. But I really have nothing going on in my hand. I'm just kind of digging for stuff with this. So I'll put the top 2 cards of my library in my graveyard. There are no creatures, so that has no effect. And then plus Huatli, so you'll get 2 loyalty counters because I have 1 creature. So I'd love to do something about what Jimmy's got going on over there, but I'm playing green-white. I didn't put any removal, which was, now that I'm thinking about it, was a mistake, but all I can do is just continue to try and build up my board and hopefully get back into the game.
And then I'll pass turn. Okay, I will untap.
I think it was Winston Churchill who said, never waste a good crisis. Maybe I can at least get Ben to crack that Sentinel Totem and just get it off the board, because if we do last until later in this game, which looks unlikely, but if it does happen, I want that Sentinel Totem gone.
Ben, will you at least use Sentinel Totem?
Before his turn?
No, like now.
During your turn?
Yes.
But in response to, I'll wait till the end of your turn. I mean, I guess the only reason to do it is just
I'm just asking you to do it now.
He wants to use his perpetual timepiece.
And then he's going to
Use
use
his
this thing to search for something to save us.
It's a very, yeah.
So you're just asking for a shot.
All right.
It's a small victory, but I'll take it. No Sentinel Totem means my deck can at least function.
Sure, fine. I crack Sentinel Totem.
Okay. So we exile all the cards from all our graveyards. Okay, I'm gonna Perpetual Timepiece. See what I get. Torrential Gearhulk. Strategic planning, not what I was hoping for.
So I have the ability to destroy one of Jimmy's creatures, and I have a ton of artifacts. I really don't want Jimmy to start like using Zakama's ability to blow up all my mana rocks and stuff, so
I'm gonna tap Gilded Lotus for 3 black, and then I'll pay 3 colorless, and I'm gonna Noxious Gearhulk the Zakama.
Zakama dies.
And I'll gain my 9 life back.
That's something.
the upside is also that I gain more life this way, and I go back to my starting life total, which is nice.
Okay, go ahead, Jimmy.
Okay, I'm going to untap, draw for turn. I'm going to +1 Nicol Bolas, so everyone exile 2 cards from your hand.
So I have 1 card in my hand that's really important, and I need to use it in the right moment. So I gotta jump through some hoops here so that I have enough cards that I can still keep it when Jimmy makes me discard.
In response, I'm gonna put a counter on Pyramid of the Pantheon to add a green, and tap 2 more to activate Memorial of Unity, sacrifice it. Look at the top 5 cards in my library. And I'm gonna put Curator of Mysteries into my hand, and then I will exile Manglehorn and Curator of Mysteries.
I guess I lose Icy Manipulator and Paradox Engine.
I'll exile Sheffield Dunes and Growing Right of Itlamok.
This whole thing where he's stripping cards out of our hand is just untenable. We're not gonna have any ammunition left to even fight him because we're not gonna have any cards in our hand. I don't know how we're gonna get around this. There's no way to get at Bolas right now.
Cassius, I will swing at Huatli for 4 in the air.
Huatli down.
Huatli is dead.
Second main phase, I'm going to tap Wooburg, and I'm gonna cast Saheeli's Artistry, targeting Noxious Gearhulk twice. And I'll target Jhoira, Weatherlight Captain, and Noxious Gearhulk.
I cast a Gearhulk. I kill his thing, and he's like, oh yeah? I'll make 2 Gearhulks. Come on, man.
I literally just cast Jhoira. I mean, I just cast her.
I get 2 creatures, get to kill 2 things, gain a ton of life, and then have 2 giant menace beaters?
Does anybody want to shuffle up? Play a game? Huh? Play some Commander? Anybody?
So I will gain 8 life, and then I'll tap a colorless, a white, and a black, and play Profane Procession.
Okay, that card's good.
I don't like seeing this card because it exiles, and exile is bad for my deck. I need my things to go to the graveyard. I don't mind if you destroy it because I can cast it back out again with my commander. I don't like anything he's doing. It's all bad. It feels like he's so far ahead, it's gonna be nearly impossible to come back. But you know what? Never give up, never surrender.
And then I will pass turn to you, Ben.
Okay, I will untap, draw for turn, tap the Azur's Gateway, draw. Now exile a Desert of the Mindful. And I'm gonna tap 3, and I'm going to cast Filigree Familiar. And I'm gonna gain 2 life.
Don't look now, everybody. Ben's winning.
The last card in my hand. It's like a slightly cheaper, a little bit worse Solemn Simulacra, but a little bit more cute, because it's like a thing. It's like a rabbit or something. And...
It's like a thing. It's like a rabbit or I don't know.
And I'm done.
I will draw. This Saga goes to 2. Put the top 2 cards in my library in the graveyard. I'll grab Verdurous Gearhulk, and I will play Verdurous Gearhulk. I'll put 4 +1/+1 counters on the Jade Light Ranger. And then I will go to combat. I'll swing at Nicol Bolas with a 6/5 Jade Light Ranger.
I will block with one of my Noxious Gearhulks.
At this point, we're just trying to knock Jimmy down. We're all doing anything we can to force him to lose creatures and just keep him from running away with the game.
I don't love this trade because the Gearhulk is very much better than the Jade Light Ranger, but I also want to keep plussing Nicol Bolas because if I can get him to an ultimate, then the game is just over.
I'll go ahead and pass turn.
Okay, I will untap.
So I draw my card that puts me at 2 cards in hand. I know Jimmy's gonna use Nicol Bolas to make us all discard 2 cards, so if I wanna hold that 1 card, I need 3 cards in hand, so...
All right, I'm gonna sacrifice my Orazka Relic to gain 3 life and draw a card. And then, go ahead.
Okay, I will untap, draw for turn. Start things off by +1ing and making everyone exile 2 cards out of their hand.
Joke's on you, I don't have any cards left.
There is not a single good way on the board right now to get rid of Nicol Bolas. And I'm exiling cards out of everyone's hands, which also reduces the chance that they'll have something that can kill Nicol Bolas. So I'm feeling amazing. And I'm gonna cast Vraska, Relic Seeker. Vraska with Nicol Bolas means that I'm pretty much gonna have the impunity to blow up as many artifacts as I can over the course of the game because no one's gonna be able to draw any answers to it.
We already have one impossible to deal with Planeswalker. Now there's another one.
I already thought it was game over, but this just seems like the nail in the coffin.
All right, hang on. I'm going to spell Swindle. Vraska.
Sick.
And I get 6 treasures.
Josh comes through in the clutch.
That's a bullet dodged. I mean, truthfully.
Aw, man. I guess I should have seen this coming, but at the same time, the only way to really get out of a counterspell is just to run right into it. Josh, I'm gonna swing at you for 4 in the air.
Yep. I take 1, 2, 3, 4.
And then I'll pass turn.
Okay, so Jimmy, you're at 38?
Yes.
Sick.
An interesting question.
Well, let's make that 0 real fast.
Okay, I'll tap the Treasure Cove and I'll activate my Azur's Gateway. Draw a card, put this away.
So an island goes into there?
Okay, I will attack Nicol Bolas with Filigree Familiar. Best case scenario, nothing happens, I get through, it does a couple points of damage to Bolas and I've helped the team. Worst case scenario, or maybe best case, I don't know, he blocks it, I lose the little rabbit thing and I draw a card.
Okay, I'll block with the Channeler Initiate.
Okay, my guy dies. When it dies, I draw a card, and I'll attempt to gain control of Channeler Initiate by casting Entrancing Melody.
All right, Ben, chipping in, doing some work here. That's one blocker out of the way. This is good. We might be able to finally start getting some damage in on Bolas.
Okay, I'm gonna tap one in response. Yeah.
Okay. The thing that's rough is, if I had just had one more land this game, I would have been able to steal Jodah right here. That's the card you want to steal.
And then I will end my turn.
I will untap. Okay, Saga goes up to the 3. Its effect is to return all lands, but I have none in my graveyard, so it'll sacrifice itself. And then tap 6, play Huatli. I'm gonna plus, and she will go to 5 loyalty. And then I'm just going to, first I'll go to combat, and I will swing at Nicol Bolas with Verdius Gearhulk.
I'll block with my other Noxious Gearhulk and they'll trade.
Okay.
Saheeli's Artistry got so much value, it was ridiculous.
So at this point, I'm thinking like Bolas has gotta go. I'm just trying to get all the creatures out of the way for Josh to go in and knock it down. We've gotta get rid of this Planeswalker. It's affecting the game in too big of a way. I'll pass turn.
Okay, on end step, I will activate my Perpetual Timepiece and I will mill 2 cards. And then I will untap, draw. I will activate the Perpetual Timepiece, mill myself for 2. Man, I got 4 lands.
So that spell swindle was so good because I have all this treasure sitting there now, which gives me a ton of mana that I'm able to have a turn where I play a lot of things all in one turn, and that's a good way to catch up in a game.
Okay, I'm gonna sack the 2 treasures for blue. Tap this for 3 green and this for 3 black. Play Muldrotha, paying the commander tax. Then I'm gonna play a land from my graveyard. I will play an island. Then I'm going to sack 2 treasures for 2 black. And I'm gonna play Ravenous Chupacabra.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Chupacabra, love that one.
Targeting Jodah.
Okay, Jodah's gonna die. Oh, I hate this card in Limited. I hate losing to it now as well, and that's my commander gone. And not to mention, if this Ravenous Chupacabra ever dies, Josh can just recast it from his graveyard. So this has just become really, really annoying now because Josh has a hand compared to everyone else. He has his graveyard. I need to deal with this, otherwise he might be able to steal this game back.
Then I'm gonna attack Nicol Bolas for 2.
Okay, he's gonna go down to 8.
Then I'm gonna pay 3, and I'm going to cast the Orazka Relic from my graveyard. And then I will sack a treasure for green, and I will play a Land World out of my graveyard.
Okay, so Nicol Bolas is a little bit farther away from that ultimate. Jimmy's board is mostly cleared out. If you looked at everything right now, I feel like this teaming up has worked.
I'm thinking that we're not completely out of this game because I know that Josh is in position to kind of start to challenge Jimmy, and you know, they'll start focusing on each other. So, you know, maybe me and Ben can start to build our sides of the board.
Go.
It's a pretty good turn. Okay, I'll untap, draw for turn. I'm going to tap 7 mana, and I'm going to cast Lay Claim, targeting Muldrotha.
Steals it?
Yeah.
Oh no. My whole deck revolves around the fact that I can play the things out of the graveyard. Like most cards are in there, like Perpetual Timepiece doesn't do anything if I don't have my commander, and now Jimmy has it, and I don't have a way to get back.
Okay, so you get control of Muldrotha.
Paying 7 mana for this when you could pay 5 feels a little bad, but stealing someone's commander in this format feels great.
Stealing permanents in a format like this, very, very, very powerful.
And this also means that I get access to my graveyard and I can cast Vraska just like Josh was able to earlier in the game.
This is just heartbreaking.
And I have nothing I can play on my graveyard right now, so I'm just going to tick up Bolas to 10. And I'm gonna target you, Cassius. At this point, because everyone has no cards in their hand, I'm gonna use Nicol Bolas's +2 on Cassius because out of all the decks, he's the most likely to have the scariest creatures.
1.
So I get to cast that card. That's gonna be a Land World. Ah, man, I was hoping for something a little bigger and scarier and something that could protect my board, but, well, I guess Ramp will have to do for now. And then that's it. I'll pass turn.
Super dope. Okay, here we go. Untap, draw for turn. I'll tap Treasure Cove and activate Azur's Gateway. Draw. I'll exile Inspiring Statuary, so that's a 3rd mana cost. Then I'm gonna recast my general, Jhoira Weatherlight Captain.
The first step to getting back in this game is going to be drawing cards with Jhoira. You spend the 6, you bite the bullet, you recast Jhoira here, and you're sitting there crossing your fingers thinking, if I can just untap with her one time, if I can just untap with her one time.
I'm done, pass the turn.
Draw. Play land for turn. I've only got 1 card in hand. I can't play it. I was feeling down. My side of the board's not, it's just not looking good. The deck's not playing how I thought it would. I will plus Huatli and pass my turn.
No matter how bad I feel about what I'm doing in this game, if I look over at Cassius, I mean, he's just not doing anything. And like, I mean, I'm pretty salty, but he's like salty. He's not doing anything.
Okay, untap. Draw for turn. I'm gonna pay a green. I'm gonna put Unbridled Growth onto Field of Ruin.
Nice.
So that's a great card in this deck.
I'm gonna sack Unbridled Growth. Draw a card.
I'm trying to keep my head up, but I don't know how I'm gonna get my commander back, which means I don't know how my deck's gonna start running again. Ugh.
I'm gonna sack my Orazka Relic to draw a card and gain 3 life. And then, go to combat. I'm going to attack Nicol Bolas with Llanowar's Weaver of Currents and Ravenous Chupacabra.
I know Jimmy doesn't want me to have Muldrotha back, so I'm counting on the fact that he really doesn't want to put Muldrotha at risk. So at least take this opportunity to knock Nicol Bolas down a little bit more.
That's 5 total?
5 total.
I'm gonna take it. I don't want to risk losing any of my guys.
Okay, Nicol Bolas.
Goes down to 5.
Nice play.
Okay, this is good. The bluff worked. Nicol Bolas really far away from the ultimate now, so I think we don't really have to worry about that.
I'm gonna pay 3 and play Scribe of the Mindful.
This is a really powerful card in the deck because it expands what I can play out of my graveyard to include instants and sorceries in addition to the permanents. But again, I really need to get Muldrotha back and I don't have a good way to do it. It's super disheartening to just pass the turn to Jimmy and say, hey, have fun with my commander.
Yeah, go.
Okay, I will untap, draw for turn. Okay, well, I'm gonna +2 this on you, Cassius. Okay, come on. One more time on Cassius, give me a monster. I'd love a dinosaur, maybe Cassius can provide me with a dinosaur.
Oh god, right. What do we get?
Path of Discovery.
Path of Discovery.
That's pretty good.
Could be worse.
Could be worse, yeah, you're right. As things go, that's not too bad.
This card can be a problem because now he's just looking through the top, he's drawing lands, he's getting a ton of value from all of his creature plays.
That's not a dinosaur. I'm gonna go to combat and I'm gonna swing at Huatli for 6.
Huatli down again. Poor Huatli's just getting beat up.
Haters, bro.
I'm gonna tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 to cast Vraska Relic Seeker. I'm going to -3 her and blow up your Scribe of the Mindful.
Scribe of the Mindful down.
And that's gonna make a treasure. I'm feeling a lot worse at the end of this turn because now I'm in the position where I'm answering threats on other sides of the table as opposed to being the threat myself. So it's actually kind of dangerous here because I'm on the back foot, I'm answering threats, and people are still very much targeting me. I'll pass turn to you, Ben.
All right, here we go.
Look at the life totals.
They like haven't moved.
I haven't moved.
Because we're all trying to just kill a Nicol Bolas, which by the way, we can't do 3v1 even.
Okay, I'm gonna cast a Cultivator's Caravan. Draw off of Jhoira.
Okay, nice. Come on, Jhoira.
Hi, Jhoira.
I drew my card. Okay.
You activated her once.
I feel like I've won the game. I got to do what the deck was supposed to do. I drew a card off Jhoira. So the question is, like, do I kill Vraska or attempt to kill Vraska, or just send it all at Bolas?
I actually think Vraska at like 1 is worse for him than Vraska in his graveyard.
Just because he could just replay
You
it.
can just replay it?
Yeah.
I guess I just attack Bolas with both.
Okay.
Bolas is gonna go down to 1.
All right, I'm done. Pass the turn.
Tap. Draw. I will tap for 8 and I will play Zatalpa.
So Talba, flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, indestructible. Maybe they could put some more abilities on there.
Yeah, I think so. It's got all the abilities, so I'm thinking this is a good foundation. I can play this and maybe be able to protect Huatli for a little while.
What I like about it is that it can hit Planeswalkers. That thing is a Planeswalker killer. It's gonna fly over the top, hit him for 8, start knocking him out of the game. It's not the easiest thing to get rid of, although Jimmy does have a Profane Procession, so I guess it is easy to get rid of.
Yeah, I'm done, Pastor.
Okay. On your end step, I guess there's no reason not to activate Perpetual Timepiece. Vizier of Many Faces. Oh, Champion of Wits.
Okay, well, I couldn't have milled a better card. The next best thing to having my commander is having a copy of my commander.
Go to combat. I'm gonna swing the Llanowar Elf at Nicol Bolas and the Chupacabra at Vraska.
Okay, I'll let the damage happen.
Okay.
So Bolas is gonna die. And Vraska goes to 1.
Yep. Then I'm going to embalm the Vizier of Many Faces and make a copy of Muldrotha.
This is awesome. So now we're online and I can start using my graveyard again. Step 1, I don't want Jimmy having Muldrotha anymore.
I'm gonna play a forest from my graveyard.
Muldrotha's so good. It's ridiculous.
I'm gonna tap the Pyramid of the Pantheon for 3 black. And I'm gonna Noxious Gearhulk from my graveyard, targeting Muldrotha. It's gonna be my artifact for a turn.
If you want a snapshot of just how powerful Muldrotha is, it's this turn from Josh.
And then I'm going to pay a green, and I'm gonna play Unbridled Growth as my enchantment for turn. So I've now played artifact, enchantment, and land. Then I'm gonna sack the Unbridled Growth to draw a card. Then I'm gonna activate Perpetual Timepiece to mill myself for 2.
And mill himself out if he's not careful.
Then I'm gonna tap 3, and I'm gonna play Scribe of the Mindful as my creature for turn.
This card needs to get dealt with immediately because he can set up a chain loop where he plays the Scribe, sacks it to get Spell Swindle something, plays the Scribe again, gets Spell Swindle back, and that's just gonna be a soft lock on the board.
Things are changing. Jimmy's looking like, you know, the arch enemy got knocked down and now the arch enemy is Josh.
Well, this turned around pretty fast, didn't it, boys? I'm going to +2 on Vraska and make myself a black pirate creature token. Path of Discovery will trigger, it'll explore. It's a land, goes in my hands, and pass turn. Things are looking bad for me right now. I had such an explosive start and I was able to just destroy everyone's hand with Nicol Bolas, but I wasn't able to attack as much as I wanted to. Zakama was only to hit one person once, and just like that, I don't think I'm actually in the lead of the game anymore. I'm definitely not winning.
Okay, yep. All right, I'm gonna untap, draw for turn, and I'm gonna cast Jaya's Immolating Inferno for 6 mana. Oh, so it's a legendary sorcery, so when I cast it, it's gonna trigger Jhoira, and I'm gonna draw a card.
Okay.
6 damage to 3 different targets.
Okay.
Vraska, Muldrotha token, and Scribe of the Mindful. For the first time this game, I truly seriously affected the game. I was holding fire in my hand. Go ahead, Cash, I'm done.
All right, tough deck. Okay, I'm gonna recast Huatli for the 3rd time. Then I will +1, and Huatli will go to 5 loyalty because I have a creature. All right, now I'm going to swing. Oh, well, you guys are even life now.
Who's done more harm to you?
Probably me.
Nicol Bolas.
Yeah.
I don't know why you wouldn't be here.
Yeah. We'll go 8 damage to Jimmy.
Okay, I'll take 8 and go to 30.
Like a big roaring dinosaur just flying over.
Okay, I'm gonna untap. Draw for turn. All right, let's go to combat.
Okay.
Jimmy, a 5/4 menace and a 2/2.
So the Ravenous Chupacabra, I want it to die. Because when it's in my graveyard, I can just recast it and then it destroys something when it comes into play.
I'll block the Chupacabra with the pirate. Solo trade.
Yep, so it's trade, you take 5.
Okay, I'll go to 25.
Okay, and then I'm gonna tap 10 total, and I'm gonna cast Muldrotha for the 3rd time.
None of my mana accelerators have been touched, so I don't mind when my commander dies. I have enough mana to recast and then play things out of my graveyard even with the leftover stuff, so I'm really happy about my position right now.
And then I'm going to play a land from my graveyard, Ipnu Rivulet.
Ipnu Rivulet, actually really good in Josh's deck because he wants to self-mill. So it essentially is a land that lets him redraw 4 cards from his deck into his graveyard, and he can keep replaying it and use that effect over and over again if he wants to.
I'm going to cast the Vizier of Tumbling Sands from my graveyard.
So this card untaps any permanent, which means it'll untap a Gilded Lotus, which means it represents 3 more mana. I already have tons of mana on the table. In my graveyard, I can play things I can sack to draw cards, so I got card draw.
Josh has so much mana.
Then I will cast Unbridled Growth again, and I'll sack it immediately to draw a card. And then I will cast Orazka Relic. Will not sack that one immediately.
So at this point, Josh becomes the target of the table. The fact that he has that much mana available is just ridiculous, and it's getting out of control.
Okay, go ahead, Jimmy.
At the end of your turn, I'm going to activate Profane Procession once on the Noxious Gearhulk. And then I'm going to activate it one more time using my treasure on Zatalpa.
I'm just like, you know, I have done nothing at this point in the game. I finally get something, and Jimmy just has to strip it away from me. I knew I shouldn't have attacked Jimmy. I had like a feeling.
Okay, I'll draw for turn. I will play a Woodland Cemetery. Okay, I'm going to tap 5, and I'm going to Profane Procession the Vizier of Tumbling Sands. That's going to be the 3rd card to exile, and it will transform into Tomb of the Dusk Rose.
That's so good.
And now I can recast either the Zatalpa, the Noxious Gearhulk, or the Vizier. So this is giving me a ton of possibilities. All right, I will pass turn.
Okay, untap.
So my deck's getting going. I can start to feel the fire. I'm excited.
Okay, I am going to cast Glint Nest Crane, and I get to look at the top 4 cards of my library and reveal an artifact among them and put it into my hand. I reveal Gilded Lotus, put it in my hand. Then I'm gonna cast Gilded Lotus. Jhoira triggers, I'll draw 1.
Yep.
The feeling I got when I looked at the card in my hand, it's like the best possible draw on the whole deck.
Let's go blue, 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 and Deep Freeze, targeting Muldrotha.
It's blue's best way of dealing with a commander. They can't put it back in their command zone. Unless they have a way to return to their hand or sacrifice it, it's just gonna sit there on the battlefield.
This is great.
Josh is gonna be pretty much out of the game for a little while. He's gotta now find a way to get rid of this enchantment. We've got him frozen.
It's really just a pain. I really don't want this to happen, so.
I'm gonna respond to that, and I'm gonna negate the deep freeze.
What? He knew he had it the whole time. He just wanted to crush my spirit. That's why he did it.
Nice to see you.
And then I'm gonna attack Cassius for 6.
I will take 6. Go down to 24.
And then my second main phase, I'll cast Walking Ballista for 1. And I draw a card from Jhoira.
Okay, so Ben's deck's starting to get off the ground here. I think we can see he got off to a slow start, got a lot of cards stripped out of his hand, but now he's starting to recover, and I think this deck is going to be a problem later.
And that's gonna do it.
Okay, untap. I will tap for 3, and I'll play Pride Sovereign.
Oh, there you go.
It's not great right now, but if I can get Huatli off, it can be an engine for me to draw 2 cards, which is good. I will plus Huatli, putting her at 7. And then pass turn.
Okay, I will untap. I draw, and then play a swamp from my graveyard as my land for turn. Okay, I'll go to combat.
Yeah.
Ben, come at you with Muldrotha for 6.
Okay, I go to 26.
Yeah, the 6 from Muldrotha felt like a slap on the wrist. Felt like, you're gonna go after me, really? Okay, I'll hit you for 6. That's all I'm gonna do. Just think about it next time.
And then I'm going to tap 2 and sacrifice the Field of Ruin, targeting the Tomb of the Dusk Rose.
Okay, this is gonna force my hand, and I think the best thing I can do here is probably just get rid of Muldrotha again. So, in response, I'll tap 4, and I will activate Tomb of the Dusk Rose. Put the Noxious Gearhulk into play. That's gonna target the Muldrotha. I will gain 6 life, and then when Noxious Gearhulk enters the battlefield, Path of Discovery will trigger, revealing a Hinterland Harbor. I'll draw it to my hand.
And then Field of Ruin,
Tomb of the Dusk Rose will die.
and everybody gets to go find a basic and put it into play.
Yeah, that's right.
This actually plays directly into my hand. I got tons of mana, so I can just recast my commander. And now, when I kill the Noxious Gearhulk, it goes back to my graveyard. So I can cast that again later too.
Everybody got their lands? Yep. Okay. Then I'm going to pay 12.
Wow.
Jeez.
That is
Cast Muldrotha
insane.
for the 4th time.
Doesn't matter how many times we've killed Muldrotha, like Josh just has like infinite mana and he just keeps recasting it, and also always has enough mana to cast something after that.
And then I will cast the Chupacabra from my graveyard, targeting Noxious Gearhulk.
Oh, I shouldn't have blocked. Why did I block the Chupacabra? I should have just taken the 2 damage. And here we are, back to 0 for Jimmy. Dang it.
And then I'm going to pay 1 green,
This is just classic Josh Lee Kwai.
and I'm going to play Unbridled Growth again.
Grinding it out so
And I'm
hard.
gonna sack it to draw a card. Then I will pass the turn.
All right, I will untap, draw for turn. So I'm gonna play Sandworm Convergence. Looking at the life totals, looking at the board states, I think this game is gonna go on for a while. So something like Sandworm Convergence could stick around and ultimately be enough value for me to take over the game and win.
A 5/5 or even a 6/6 because you have Path of Discovery every turn, that is a real problem. That's gonna be an issue. I'm gonna have to think of a plan to deal with it as we move on with the game.
And then I will tap 5 and play Revel in Riches.
This card is a little bit annoying because you have to be careful now when destroying other people's creatures that Jimmy doesn't get to the point where he just wins with treasure. It seems like that's probably not going to happen because we're so late in the game, but you never know, and another thing you just have to keep tabs on.
And then I will pass the turn. On my end step, I'm gonna make a 5/5 Worm Creature token. And I'll explore from Path of Discovery, Sunbird's Invocation. I'll keep it on top of my library and place a +1/+1 counter, and then I will pass turn.
Okay, let's go untap. I will gain a life off of the Inventor's Fair. Draw for turn. Start the turn off by going Treasure Cove, activating Azur's Gateway. I'll draw, and I will exile Artificer's Assistant.
You got 4 different
So that's
kinds.
4 different types now.
Azur's Gateway. The impossible dream. It's getting close. I'm thinking I'm actually gonna be able to do it. And in my hand, I'm holding the 5th CMC card, specifically so that I can ditch it when I untap and get a billion mana.
And then cast Foundry Inspector and I draw a card from Jhoira.
At this point, Ben starts to get going finally.
And then I'll cast Karn, Scion of Urza. I'm gonna draw off Jhoira.
Jhoira's trying a lot.
Question is, do I make an artifact creature for -2, or do I start using it as like a Jace Architect of Thought type of thing?
So Karn is he's gonna plus, reveal the top 2. Cash, I'm gonna have you put 1 into my hand. Top 2 cards are Manolith and Memorial to War.
I'll give you the land.
Okay, and then I exile Manolith with a silver counter on it. Then I will end my turn.
So if I get to untap, I'm gonna flip that Azer's Gateway. I'm gonna have like 55 mana or something like that. So I kind of coolly end my turn here and just decide like, okay, did what I could do, ran out of mana, shucks.
Okay, I'll untap.
You gotta feel a little bad for Cassius because it was someone's fault that he lost all of the cards in his hand and he's had to sit around and dirtle and do nothing the entire game.
I feel terrible, I'm behind, nothing's going right. I'm thinking like I gotta draw something to make a splash. Like what can I draw? I pull the top card, it is super awesome. Tap for 10 total.
Whoa, holy smokes.
And I will play Kamal's Druidic Vow.
Oh!
So if any card could get me back into this game, it's this one.
That might have been the best top deck Cassius could have had at this point in the game. Holy moly!
You reveal the top 8 cards of your library?
Yes. So we're gonna get Song of Freyleys, Legion's Landing, Shiloh, Voice of Plenty, and Channeler Initiate. And 2 lamps. Then, because of Legion's Landing, I'll get a 1/1 lifelink. Vampire.
Ooh, whoops. We actually realized a little bit later that we made a rules mistake with Kamal's Druidic Vow. Turns out you're only allowed to put legends and not just any creature onto the battlefield, so Cash got a little extra value out of it.
They're new cards, and this is the kind of thing that happens all the time when you're playing games. You know, the board state gets complicated and you miss something. But honestly, Cash was so far behind that I'm kind of happy that he got to get back in the game that way, even if technically that's not what should have happened.
I'm going to plus Huatli for 4. She goes to 12.
That was a big turn.
So this is great. I'm set up. If I can ultimate Huatli and get that emblem, then I can start the engine. I can start playing things, drawing more creatures, building up my side of the board, and getting into this game.
Okay, on your end step, I'm going to Perpetual Time Piece, mill myself for 2, and I will untap.
So all of a sudden, everybody's board's pretty scary, and figuring out how to win from here is tough because it feels like if you point your attention towards somebody, then one of the other players is going to get you. And in this position, I usually like to try and make a deal with somebody so I can just sort of guarantee like that person is not going to go after me.
This is the first time I've had board state in the whole game. Can I keep it? So I'm looking for some deals. I'm reaching out. This is where the politicking starts.
How much do you want to keep it?
A lot. Like 3 tickets to the next 49ers game.
Whoa!
Oh no!
Yeah, I'm down.
How about not attacking me
Oh, absolutely.
next turn? Okay.
How about I won't quit the podcast?
No deal.
So now that my eastern border is all shorn up, I can really concentrate in the other areas of the game, at least for this turn, which is big.
I'm gonna tap this for 3 blue.
Ben has that Azor's Gateway that I'm really scared is gonna flip over next turn. So
4, 5,
Oh my gosh.
6. And I'm gonna River's Rebuke Ben.
Oh, you thought Cyclonic Rift wasn't in the format? I'm sorry, it's back, just as a sorcery, and only at 1 player. But turns out, that's still pretty good.
Did you just bounce my whole board?
Yeah.
My first thought is, why am I not playing River's Rebuke? My second thought is, this sucks.
Sorry, Ben. Welcome to Game Nights.
You really just bounced my whole board?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tap 4 and sacrifice Adventurous Fair, and it'll be Jhoira's Familiar I'll put in my hand.
Okay.
And then your thing will resolve.
Bounce time.
Sorry, Ben.
The worst part is that Azor's Gateway exiled all those cards and I'm never gonna see him again or get him back.
Oh god.
And then I'm gonna pay 1 green, play Unbridled Growth again, sack it to draw a card.
the thing is that River's Rebuke, yeah, I have a way to bring it back.
Then I'm gonna play Scribe of the Mindful from my graveyard as my creature for turn.
And here I was, giddy that I wasn't targeted with the River's Rebuke. Well, now I know why, because Josh can just turn it on me next time. This is a problem.
Okay, I'm gonna tap Gilded Lotus for 3 black. I'm gonna play Beam Whip Punisher, put a -1 counter onto Shalai, I guess. So I still have 2 black floating. That's the Implement of Malice. And then I will pay a black. I will make Jimmy discard a card, and I will draw a card.
How dare you?
I'll discard the land.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
All right, I will untap. So I have a lot of big spells in my hand and I need to cast them for a little cheaper, otherwise I'm just casting one spell a turn. So this seems like the perfect time to recast my general. I'm going to tap 6 and play Jodah, Archmage Eternal. And I'll explore from Path of Discovery. Explore is such a good mechanic. It sometimes gets you that free value, but revealing Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. Other times it reveals things that you don't want your opponents to know about.
That seems insane. He's still got Vraska, Nicol Bolas, Zakama, all kinds of stuff in his graveyard.
Oh my lord.
Keep that on top. Give a +1/+1 counter to Jodah. Well, hey, look. May as well put all my cards on the table now if I'm gonna be casting a huge spell next turn. So I'm gonna use Jodah's ability to cast Sunbird's Invocation. This card is gonna continually give me value throughout the rest of the game, especially with my high CMC spells. So with Sandworm Convergence out, I'm feeling pretty safe. I think it's a great play. At the end of my turn, Sandworm Convergence will trigger. I'll reveal the top card of my library. It's still Primeval's Glorious Birth, so I'll put a +1/+1 counter on this worm. And I'll pass turn to you, Ben.
Okay, draw for turn. And then for 2, I'm gonna cast Reckless Fireweaver.
Well, I wonder if he has a lot of artifacts in his hand.
The upside of all my stuff getting bounced is I get to replay it.
Oh, this is gonna be painful.
Then we'll go Jhoira's Familiar, and Reckless Fireweaver's ability triggers, and each of you take 1 damage.
Reckless Fireweaver is especially good in multiplayer because it does damage to each opponent.
Then I'm going to cast Gilded Lotus, triggering Reckless Fireweaver again, 1 more to each of you. Then I will tap Gilded Lotus, use 2 of it to cast Foundry Inspector, trigger the Fireweaver another time. Then I will cast Cultivator's Caravan, Fireweaver again, 1 to each of you.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Then I will cast Azur's Gateway for free. The Fireweaver triggers again, 1 to each of you.
Hold up. What just happened? Ben just went off.
I could see a scenario where he takes this game with that Reckless Fireweaver if we're not careful.
I feel like if people ignore me, I might be able to climb back in.
So yeah, I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay, draw. So Song of Freyalise goes to 2.
These sagas are really interesting because it's a powerful effect, but it's telegraphed to your opponents.
Ooh, Cash right now is like raising the hammer and it's about to come down. Fortunately, we can all see it coming.
Which is nice. It's nice to know that it's gonna happen so you can start preparing for it.
So we're a turn away from Cassius having a totally nuts opportunity.
All right, first I'm gonna ult Huatli, and she'll go down to 4 loyalty.
You got the emblem.
I have the emblem. So this is basically the whole purpose of the deck. I would have much rather have been much earlier. So I will play Shauna, Cisei's Legacy.
Oh my gosh, how big is she right now?
She will just be a 5/5 for now.
Okay.
And because of the emblem, I'll draw a card. Then I'm going to exert Pride Sovereign. So two kitty cats will come into play. And then, because of the emblem, I will draw 2 cards.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Huatli's ultimate, extremely good, and now Cassius's engine is going.
And then I'm going to play Shaper's Sanctuary.
Okay, we really can't target your stuff.
I'm feeling good. I'm back in the game. I've got a handful of cards. I'm going to tap 4/6 and activate Shalai, Voice of Plenty, putting a +1/+1 counter on each creature I control.
That Shalai is really annoying because it gives Cash hexproof, which means I can't target him with the River's Rebuke if I need to, and I need the threat of that just to keep him under control.
Okay, in response, I'm going to activate the Banewhip Punisher, sacrifice it, destroy Shalai.
Okay, in response, I will tap 3, 4, 5, 6 for another +1/+1 counter on each creature I control.
Yeah, I didn't think this through. So I totally forgot that the Song of Freyalise allows Cash to tap his creatures for mana, which means he's able to activate Shalai a second time, which means the +1 counter cancels out the -1 counter.
So that's gonna basically counter the Banewhip's ability.
Yes.
And if it wasn't bad enough that Shalai lives,
Okay, and then Shaper's Sanctuary is triggered, and I will draw a card.
now all of his creatures get +2/+2 permanently. Yeah, that wasn't a very good play. I'll admit that.
Pass my turn, and Throne of the God Pharaohs will trigger. Each opponent will lose 4 life.
Throne of the God Pharaoh. Crap.
Finally.
Turn 11.
I'm feeling good. I'm back in the game. I've got a handful of cards. I feel like I can maybe win this game.
So we know that next turn, all of Cassius's creatures are gonna get big and they're gonna have trample. The problem is, Jimmy's gonna cast that thing that brings all of his stuff out of the graveyard next turn. Ben, again, is starting to go off. I have 1 River's Rebuke. that's a good card, but it doesn't take care of all three, and I feel like whoever I use it on, then it's gonna cause the other player to win, but not me.
Cash, I'm gonna offer you the same deal I offered last time. Don't attack me.
And you'll leave my board.
And I'll leave your board.
You strike a hard bargain, guys.
Unfortunately, I'm in the same position that Cash is, and I have to strike a deal with Josh just because River's Rebuke is that powerful.
Let's make a deal, Josh.
Well, what's the deal?
Well, if you don't Rivers Rebuke me, I won't kill Muldrotha, get rid of your Guildless and your Pyramid of the Pantheon.
How about if I don't Rivers Rebuke you, you don't touch my board in any way, shape, or form, or attack me?
We have one turn?
One turn.
I'll take it. I'll take
That's
it.
the deal? Okay.
Yeah.
There's deals left and right going here. I'm trying to think, how can I save myself? How can I survive?
You know that I have Ballista, so I have the ability to do just one big thing on my turn, and I can point that.
All right, I'll offer you the same deal then.
No interaction. I don't get you.
Whatever you do, you do it to them, except for the Reckless Fire Weaver, which I know you cannot. But besides that,
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
I won't come at you.
Rivers Rebuke is really good.
So basically, Josh gets to use his words to generate value in-game, which is insane if you think about it, because it doesn't cost him any mana, and it costs him 0 cards.
All right, I'm gonna cast the Scare of God, finally, from my graveyard as my creature.
This is a very powerful card in the deck, but it's also a little bit dicey because I don't want to be exiling cards from my graveyard, because when I do that, they're not useful to me anymore with Muldrotha. So as a result, I've been waiting to play this till I think the game is getting near to wrap up.
I'm gonna pay a green, and I'm gonna play my Unbridled Growth from my graveyard again, and sack it to draw a card. And then I'm going to play the Implement of Malice from my graveyard as my artifact for a turn. And then, all right, Jimmy, pass the turn.
Okay, I'm gonna untap and drop a turn. Okay, well, let's go ahead and tap for Wooburg. I'm going to cast Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. Sunbird's Invocation is going to trigger, so I'm going to reveal the top X cards in my library, where X is the CMC, which is 7. So I'm going to reveal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can cast a non-land card, revealed this way if I want. Okay, I'm going to cast Shalai, Voice of Plenty.
So you have hexproof now?
I have hexproof.
And all your creatures?
And my creatures.
Whoa, this is actually game-changing. The reason that Shalai is so important here for both me and Cassius is that it gives us, the players, hexproof, which means that Josh can't target us with River's Rebuke, and that's the card I am the most afraid of right now.
It's not that I can't kill the Shalai, it's the fact that I have to jump through an additional hoop to get to him. And look at his board now, it's insane.
Now Primeval's Glorious Rebirth is going to resolve, and I'm gonna play Zakama, Nicol Bolas, Vraska Relic Seeker, and Profane Procession.
Jeez, I mean, once again, I think that I'm about to have a cool turn. I look over at Jimmy and it's just like,
You thought I was down and out, but now I am reborn!
Path of Discovery is also going to trigger, for Shalai and Zakama. So Shalai will trigger first, revealing Adzakan Seer. I'll keep it on top, and I'm going to add 2 more +1/+1 counters to my guys. Okay. Cassius, want to make a deal?
What's that?
Just a turn.
You have a turn.
Both ways.
Oh, Ben, you're in big trouble then.
oh, come on, I'll make a deal with you.
Yeah, what kind of deal?
Well, then you can't do
I don't
anything.
know what kind of deal you got.
How about this? You make sure Shalai stays alive.
I won't interact with any of this. I won't do it. I won't mess with your planeswalkers.
You won't mess with me.
Oh crap. Well, it turns out I've politicked a little too much. I've made deals with everybody, and now I cannot actually use my planeswalkers against them. So,
So I'm gonna +2 Vraska to make a pirate. And then I'm gonna pass turn. Sandworm Ridge will trigger, make another token, and I'll explore from Path of Discovery. It's gonna reveal the same card. All right, and now I will pass the turn.
Everybody makes a deal with everybody else and nobody's doing anything. He doesn't even do anything with Nicol Bolas. That's like what happens.
I'm gonna cast Jhoira.
The goal in this turn for me is try to chain enough things together and hit enough of these cheap artifacts that maybe I can buy myself 1 more turn.
And then I'm gonna cast Weatherlight. Ooh. Reckless Fireweaver triggers, you guys all take 1. And I draw a card from Jhoira. Then I'm gonna cast Prophetic Prism for free because of Jhoira's Familiar and Foundry Inspector.
Nice.
So I'll draw 2, and the Fireweaver triggers again. You guys all take 1.
Ben is just sequencing card after card after card. The fact that he gets a reduction on mana costs is so huge in this deck.
And then I'll cast Aetherflux Reservoir.
Okay, so this is actually scary. Ben is really churning through a lot of his deck and casting a lot of spells, and if he gets above 50 life, Cassius and Jimmy are both hexproof. I'm the only one who's gonna be able to target with that thing. I do not want him to have a laser cannon that says kill Josh on it.
I'll draw one off Jhoira, trigger the Fireweaver another time.
Ben's deck is picking up speed now, and we are all taking a lot of damage.
Okay, so then I've got Harazka Relic. Fireweaver triggers again. Jhoira triggers, I'll draw one. And because of Aetherflux Reservoir, I gain 5 life.
Stuff's happening, I like it.
Yeah. And then I cast Karn. So I go to 34 because of Reservoir, and I draw a card from Jhoira. Then I'm going to minus Karn, bring him to 4. I'm gonna put this silver counter Manolith into my hand.
All right.
We're gonna get that. Then I'm gonna cast Manolith, having gained 7 life.
Yep.
That's gonna bring me to 41.
And then we all lose 1 life because of the reckless.
You guys all lose 1.
Holy crap, he's at 41 all of a sudden?
Okay, Ben, stop gaining life, man. Just don't get to 50.
I guess I'll just cast Walking Ballista at 1 for free. The Fireweaver triggers again.
Yep.
I draw off of Jhoira.
Gain 8.
It's only going to be 49. I have to make the decision. Do I go all in, go over 50 life, or do I sandbag 1 spell so that I can interact? The toughest thing here is that 2 different players both have a creature that make them hexproof, which means Josh is the only person that I can really point the laser cannon at. So holding open disallow turns out to be the correct play in my mind at the time. Guess that's gonna end my turn.
49. Woo. That was a little scary. I'm not gonna lie. Pretty scary.
How many cards are in your deck?
Not very many.
Alright, untap, draw. Song of Freylease will go off. Putting a 1/1 counter on all of my creatures.
And they get Vigilance, Trample, and Indestructible?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize they were indestructible too.
Yeah. I'm ready for the game to start get going. Headed towards the end, so I'm like, I'm supposed to turn sideways, even though I had Vigilance, but you get what I'm saying. Swing. So I'll activate Shalai twice, putting 2 more +1/+1 counters on everything.
Sorry, Ben, but you're the only one that didn't make a deal with Cash, so you're about to get knocked in the face for a lot.
And I'm gonna minus Huatli and target the life-linking vampire and giving him +7/+7.
Okay.
And then I will swing at you, Ben, with the entire board.
So he throws 53 power at me.
Whoa, Ben. Oh my gosh, this is a huge attack.
So Legion's Landing will transform into Adonto the First Fort.
All right, I'll crew on these 2 guys.
I can block and I can throw Weatherlight and a couple other creatures in front of his creatures, but unfortunately because of the trample, I'm gonna have to take a lot of damage.
So I'm gonna block 10 of it with the Weatherlight and the Cultivator's Caravan, and that'll bring me to 6 life.
I mean, the difference between 50 and 6 is just that I can or I can't activate Aetherflux Reservoir. I'm still alive. It's just gonna be up to the other players if they're gonna kill me with damage.
Because of Revel in Riches, I'm gonna get 2 treasures from your creatures that died, Ben.
So lifelink, so I will gain 27 life and go to 40.
It was like he was at 27, then went to 40 in 1 turn. Then the very next turn, he's at 27, he goes to 40.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, in my turn,
Oh, yeah.
Throne of the God Pharaohs will do 1 damage to...
Yep. Okay. Then on your end step,
All truces are over, by the way, as soon as it goes to Josh's turn.
we're still on his end step.
Oh, right, sorry. Deals are still good.
Deals are still good right now.
Oh, yeah,
I'm gonna pay 1, and I'm gonna sacrifice my Scribe of the Mindful, and I'm gonna get the River's Rebuke.
Oh gosh.
Because of River's Rebuke, I can basically make it so that either Cassius or Jimmy has no chance to win. The problem is, whichever one I do it to, the other one can then kill me. So again, the only way out of this is to use the threat of the River's Rebuke to keep one of them off my back long enough that I can sort of take them on one at a time.
Cash.
What's up, brother?
I want to make 1 more deal with you.
Why him first?
I'll kill Ben and Jimmy. Then after that,
you versus
it's you and me.
Okay.
Then don't attack me next turn. Okay.
Here's the thing. I
We're
don't
not-
think.
Otherwise, I have to make the deal with Jimmy to rebuke your board.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
It's one or the other, but it's
Yeah.
survival of the fittest here, boys.
Yeah.
Then why don't you make the deal with me?
You've won a lot lately.
He says, like, if you don't attack me, if you send nothing my way next turn, you're home free. And I'm like, I'm taking the deal.
All right, Ben. Well, you and me are together now.
Yeah.
For whatever it means.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna tap 2 and sacrifice the Ipnu Rivulet to mill Ben for 4.
Oh, I thought Josh was just going to attack Ben to kill him, but it turns out he can actually just mill him out by replaying that Rivulet. That is pretty next level.
Disallows a funny magic card. I could counter the initial ability to mill my cards.
It's tough because I don't know when to do it, right? There's so many different opportunities when Josh is doing all sorts of different things.
I think if you do anything, you have to force him to use his mana on his turn to make it slightly less possible. Like you want to restrict his mana on his turn.
This was the end. Oh, I see.
This is
my turn.
Cassius's end step, yeah.
Okay, fine. He mailed me 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So now when I replay and then reactivate this next turn, Ben will have 0 cards in his library.
Okay, activate the Scarab God. Bring Verdurous Gearhulk out of Cash's graveyard. And I'm gonna put the 4 counters on the Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
Then I'm going to activate Scarab God one more time. I'll get the Tender Shoot Dryad.
Whoa.
And then go to untap.
Guess so.
Okay, so I untap and the deal with Jimmy is now officially off, and he's been planning for this moment and I've been planning for this moment. Well, let's see how this turns out.
And then on upkeep, trigger, Tender Shoot Dryad, and Scarab God. And I make a Sapperling.
In response, I'm going to tap 5 and activate Profane Procession to exile the Scarab God.
Okay, in response to that, I'm going to activate Scarab God. I'm gonna target Noxious Gearhulk.
With 4 cards left in my library, it became a game of how can I most effectively waste Josh's mana?
I will disallow that trigger.
I was pretty sure that this counterspell was coming. It's fine because I can just activate again. So I'm not even gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna consider that card to have said, you know, Josh wastes 4 mana.
Okay, so the ability is countered. And then I will activate Scarab God a second time, targeting Noxious Gearhulk.
Yep.
I will get rid of Shalai.
Okay, Josh is trying to get rid of Shalai, which gives me hexproof, so I have to protect the card. This is my last shot. This is my only out.
In response, I'm gonna cast Heroic Intervention.
This will give all of my cards hexproof and indestructible, which means that Josh's kill spell will fizzle and it'll keep my board safe and also keep me immune from River's Rebuke.
Cast trigger on Sunbird's Invocation. I can't cast any of them.
I know that if I can just get rid of this one spell, I'm in the clear. And like I said, I've been planning for this moment, so.
I'm going to
Another counter?
Insidious Will.
That's so good.
Game over.
Oh, of course.
And our hopes and dreams crumble.
So Shalai dies.
Man, we almost got him.
Then Frame Procession will resolve.
Yep.
Scarab God will get exiled. And then Scarab God's trigger resolves and everybody loses 3 life and I strike 3.
So first step is make sure that Ben has no cards in his library.
Okay, then for my turn, I'm going to play the Ipnu Rivulet as my land for my graveyard. I'll activate Ipnu Rivulet, mill you for the last 4, Ben.
Sorry, Ben. It's brutal.
So now with Shalai down, Jimmy no longer has hexproof.
And I'll River's Rebuke Jimmy.
I'm gonna saltily.
The salt.
And then, Jimmy, I will attack you for 12 Exacxies.
I'm getting drowned. Those are the bubbles.
The way this works is before I draw my card, I'm gonna have an upkeep.
Fine, Josh. Tell you exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna help my man Cash out as much as I possibly can.
Even though he did 49 damage to you,
Don't even care. Don't even care.
on your upkeep, the Tender Shoot will trigger and I'll get a second Sapperling.
Okay.
I still have a Walking Ballista on the battlefield with a single counter on it. Which means I can sink every single piece of resource that I have on the battlefield into that Walking Ballista.
5, 10, 15, 16.
4 counters.
So I'll bring it
it's
up
a
to
5/5.
And then I will remove the counters from the Walking Ballista and deal 4 to the Dryad and 1 to the Llanowar Elf.
It seems small, but Cassius has a lot of creatures and I'm gonna need to block them. And so every creature I lose is very important.
And then I will enter my draw step.
So I go to draw my card and I...
Oh, it's still going. Are you dead or are you still alive?
Untap.
So according to our deal, Cash is not allowed to attack me until my next turn, which means with no opponents, he's supposed to just sit there. Let's see if he lives up to his side of the bargain.
Tap 1, exert the Pride Mage Sovereign. Because of the emblem, I will draw 2 cards. Then I cast Life Craster's Bestiary. I could win on this turn. I absolutely have the means to win, but I made a deal with Josh not to attack him. I'm going to tap for Ripjaw Raptor, draw a card, and pay an extra green to draw off of Bishiri. And then tap for 4, I'll Catcher the True. I'll draw off the emblem and Life Crafter's Bishiri. I've got a bunch of creatures. I'm basically just looking for a way to trample over and end the game on the next turn. So I'll activate the Adanto to make a 1/1 Vampire Lifelinker, and I'll draw off the emblem. And then I'm just gonna plus Huatli and go to 16. So on end step, Throne of the God Pharaoh triggers.
And I lose 1.
Yeah.
Going to 25.
All right, this is great. He's not gonna attack me. This worked out. Politics, doing good.
Okay, go to untap. Draw.
Still not 100% that I'm gonna win, but if I can get that River's Rebuke back online, bounce his entire board, it's pretty much over.
I'm going to play Scribe of the Mindful from my graveyard as my creature.
That just means I'm gonna have to survive 1 attack.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna tap blue, black, and 2 and play Hostage Taker, targeting your Shalai.
Okay, Shaper's Sanctuary is triggered, and I will draw a card.
Okay, I will cast Shalai.
Blockers, blockers, blockers. It's all about surviving the next turn, blocking Cash's creatures, then I can get River's Rebuke back, and hopefully we're good.
And then I'm gonna batten down the hatches. Go ahead.
All right, untap. I'll scry and put it on the bottom. Draw. I'm gonna make a 1/1 Vampire Lifelinker, draw a card. Josh has a ton of creatures. He's got enough to just block my creatures. I'm looking for a way to trample over and deal damage to him directly. End the game there. Play Wayward Sabertooth, Galta Primal Hunger, Carnage Tyrant. Draw off the emblem, draw a card, draw a card. So at this point, I don't have enough mana to create another creature and draw more cards. I swing all out.
Okay.
All his creatures are huge, but I have enough creatures to just chump block, and with no trample, I just don't have to take that much damage.
So 20 and 16.
36.
Definitely getting blocked.
Cash, you've got 5 cards in your library?
4. He's just gonna mill me.
So I'll block like that, and I will take 10 damage.
Okay, Cash gains 16, 36. So you go up to 73.
End of turn, trigger Throne of the God Pharaoh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay, I'm gonna tap 3 blue. I'm gonna cycle Nimble Obstructionist, and I'm gonna counter target triggered ability so I don't take the throne damage. Untap.
So this is it. This is pretty much the game.
Okay, I'll mill you for 4.
I mean, I kind of won through politics. Like, how do you? Well, this turned out to be a crazy game. I thought the Brawl format would be faster and maybe a little less powered because it was a smaller card pool, but Jimmy straight up had one of the most explosive turns I've ever seen in any form of Magic ever.
Those 2 turns were just nuts. I mean, I just didn't anticipate like it being this explosive.
I thought it was gonna be fast, I thought the games were gonna be not as interactive, and I thought it was gonna be pretty straightforward, but man, that was one of the swingiest and most interactive games of a singleton format I've ever played, and I was honestly really surprised.
Because the format's so young, it really is a brewer's paradise.
No one's done anything yet, right? It's a brand new open field, it's the wild west of deck building.
I played a lot of cards that I've never played before in a game, so it was a new challenge for me as a deck builder, so I had fun with it.
My favorite part about Magic is deck building. That's why this is the episode of Game Nights that I was invited to, is because I'm a brewer. That's what I do. So that was my favorite part of this whole day.
Walking into unknown waters like this is a lot of fun. You know, I had certain expectations about the format, and they were completely blown away by what happened today.
All about trying new things, especially when it's playing with good friends that are great at Magic. An experience like this is the most fun way to do that.
I did. I had fun. I had fun. Later in the game, I was super salty at first, but then I started having fun.